I need water first. How does it sound? Okay.
Oh man, that was awesome. We've never had live music bring us in here on the daily live chat for Nerdarchy here. Welcome, I'm Nerdarchist Dave for Nerds by Nerds, and today I'm joined by Back Tactics with some live bagpiping. I even cranked down OBS a little bit so we didn't blast out people's eardrums too badly.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
No worries. I definitely see some appreciation for bagpipes in the chat already. And also, there's some disappointment that you're not an actual kobold.
Oh, well, this is disguised self, so.
Yeah.
You know.
You want to drop your camera down just a little bit.
Oh,
Cutting off
there
your
we
head.
go.
Yeah.
A little bit further up.
Perfect.
All right.
Awesome. So how you doing today, man?
Pretty good. Just got off work.
Nice.
Had a good time at work. Pulling cables and yeah.
So Sid wants to know, do you have a kobold fursuit?
No.
And I honestly, wouldn't it be a scale suit anyway?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm that's too expensive for me.
Yeah. So, Pack Tactics is your YouTube channel, and you're a fairly new YouTuber. You've only been at it for a couple months. You got like 10 videos up already, and I don't know. I don't remember how the interactions actually went, but I remember seeing your channel. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. You're doing something different over here. And you're like, I'm also a real life bagpiper. And I'm like, nice. We can get a D&D YouTuber who also plays one of the most obnoxious musical instruments on the planet on here. Perfect.
Yep. And I probably scared away your viewers, so.
Well, it doesn't look like it. I think they're here for the bagpipes, man.
Yeah, maybe.
How did you get started at bagpiping?
That was 9 years ago. And I got, I think it was in the Netherlands. I got jealous of this band. And, you know, I was a teenager back then, and I thought this band was so cool and everything. They actually weren't very good. But basically, we ended up in an argument because, you know, I wanted to be part of the band, but I couldn't play anything. But they were playing punk rock, so it doesn't matter. You know,
Yeah.
Punk rocks don't really play an instrument. They just make noises. But that's part of the fun. But anyways, I wanted to play something, right? Like I tried guitar and tried piano and drums and everything, and nothing stuck. So then I bought this flute. I still have it. I bought one of these, and yeah, pretty much, and started practicing that for like 2 years. And I figured out, oh, this actually belongs to that thing. So yeah, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna buy that thing. And I have a good time now.
So Doug wants to know, do you play Auld Lang Syne every New Year's Eve?
No, I don't.
I don't even know what that is.
I'm actually not sure either. But I mean, every summer, I play at festivals and stuff like that, for volunteer, and it's usually the rock festivals. I jump on with like a band, and I've opened for D. Schneider and stuff like that. So,
oh, that's pretty cool.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Did you get to meet D?
Yeah, I got to meet him. This was many years ago. He's a nice guy. He was a little bit scary, but he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He didn't have the ghetto on. He didn't have the
I guess you age out of the get up.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to start your YouTube channel?
Well, Trent Monk, first of all, and just YouTube in general. I mean, like, I wanted content that was like good enough for me, because everything was so long. Everything is like an hour long and stuff like that. And I feel like I don't have an hour on me. So I wanted shorter videos, shorter videos that get to the point. So I'm making that. Yeah. And I wanted to experiment with things like that thing and this thing.
That's like one of the best reasons to do anything, right? Like I was looking for a thing and no one was making the thing that I wanted. So they left me no choice but to do it myself.
Yeah, relatable.
There's an animator called Adan that I think we've had him on. I think he's from Argentina, but he does like 2-minute videos.
Okay,
they're even shorter. But I totally feel you, because like some of my favorite creators I don't watch because I'm like, guy, why does this have to be 40 minutes? Why can't you do it in 15? So I totally feel that. And as someone, we generally create videos that are anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes ourselves, so we don't exactly create short videos either. But I know other people like longer videos. So
yeah, I mean, I understand. There's some people who like podcasts and stuff like that, and while they cut the lawn or whatever, and I get that. And I mean, I used to listen to a lot of podcasts, but again, I can't do that anymore.
What was the inspiration for the kobold kind of mascot you use?
So there's this kobold I played years ago, and I love him. I love him to death. He's fun to role play, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I still play him at one of the tables, although he's like a different variation. But anyways, for that one, I don't know, man. Like, I needed a mascot. I needed to stick out a lot more. Everybody's doing the webcam stuff and saying, we're gonna build a fighter, and I didn't want to be like everybody else. I wanted animated stuff, although not fully animated, but
Yeah. Was that something you were already doing?
Yeah, I mean, not fully animated. It's more like puppeteering, like changing expressions and stuff like that. Although it's not very much expressions. It's only like,
Animation light.
yeah, it's animation lights.
But so is that something you were playing with before you started the YouTube channel?
No. I started doing that when I thought to myself, oh, I'm gonna jump on YouTube, you
Yeah.
know? And then I just started drawing these simple things. And I had help with my two other artist friends who are incredible artists. Shout outs to them. They're probably watching right now. And well, I mean, like, yeah, what can I say? I need more animations and stuff like that, but I just haven't had the time. Right
Yeah.
now, I just want to get as much content out there as I possibly can.
So how did you get started playing D&D? BK Dan wants to know.
I started with Pathfinder, and it was at a school. Here where I live, we have something called Folkehøyskole. And what that really is, it's not really school. It's more like you have 1 year off kind of school. But at the same time, you still have to like do all the school things and stuff. You don't get grades or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a system they have here, right? And I remember, I believe it was our math teacher. He ran a game of Pathfinder, and I decided to join it. And I played one game, and I got hooked. And from there, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna be a dungeon master, even though I don't know the rules. And then eventually, from all these mistakes that I made as a dungeon master, you know, I got better and better and better. And then eventually, I changed system to Call of Cthulhu, and then eventually to 5th edition. So, you know, rest is history.
Folks, if you have questions, feel free to ask. Just drop question in front of it or a Q in parentheses or something to make it easier to pull out.
30 people. Oh
Yeah,
my
there's a bunch
God.
of people come to chill with the kobold and the bagpipes. So Everice, hey, bagpipes, have you ever ridden a horse before? That's a highly specific question. Well, you said you lived in Texas, right? So, you know.
No, Everest. You know the answer is no. And you already asked Chris about that. So I don't know if you remember that. That was, I don't know. Well, anyways, probably
Yeah,
not.
yeah. You know, so is that on your bucket list to ride a horse while playing bagpipes? While
Um,
dressed as a kobold.
that that sounds very difficult, but sure, why not? The horse got to go on stage, you know?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And, you know, that'd be kind of cool.
So, do you prefer running the game as a GM or do you like being a player?
Like both. I like both worlds, you know? And right now I can only tolerate DMing one game at a time. Although, you know, I think I can DM consistently or like all the time, but I don't know. I think I like being a player more because it's a lot simpler, you know?
You just get to show up. Nah, I can feel that for sure.
Yeah, just get to show up and
Yeah, I had an epiphany a while back that I was like, you know, I haven't really been running any games. I've just been playing in them all. And you know, from going from being like the forever DM, and so now I'm back to running a handful of games. So you know, it was time. Tristan wants to know if you have a favorite class.
probably Warlock actually. I feel like there's a lot of flavor in it, and I really enjoy flavor. I'm a big fan of the like Lovecraft stories and stuff like
Yeah,
that, and I feel like they fit very well into like the mysterious patron stuff. It
yeah.
doesn't really have to be a patron, but
Nah,
yeah.
I agree. I think it is one of the more thematic additions to the game. So we got like 30 people here in the chat, and I feel like half of them came to troll you.
That sounds about right.
My
I
Nettie
know.
wants me to ask about his kilt,
Oh, the kilts. I don't have it on me, but hold on.
but nearby.
Yeah, here it is.
Oh, you get the whole get up.
The whole get. Well, I mean, just the kilt and the man purse.
I is that required for bagpipe playing?
Oh, absolutely. When I'm going to festivals,
Oh,
rock festivals and stuff, I got the kilt on, and people are like, "Oh, you know, people haven't seen stuff like that before." I live in a place where nobody plays the bagpipes, so
yeah, yeah.
hmm,
Well, you said you were the only bagpiper in your county.
pretty much,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Well,
So
I don't know if we
so
have any bagpipers in our county.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm curious.
you probably do have some floating around here and there, although it's
Yeah,
not a big scene. But here, there's nothing. I own the whole
yeah.
market pretty much. So that's fun.
So, you said we were talking a little bit before we got started. You said most of your gaming you do online.
Yes,
Yeah.
I pretty much have to, because the local guys, I mean, they have their own games, right? But it's all in Norwegian, and I'm not very good at Norwegian.
Uh huh.
And I understand Norwegian, right? But I feel like it's a little bit embarrassing when I'm role playing in English and they're role playing in Norwegian, you know? So yeah.
Yeah. But you are Norwegian.
Yeah, I am Norwegian,
Yeah.
but I've lived in so many places that I've just when
Yeah.
I came back here in Norway, I completely forgot my own language.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because originally we were supposed to move to somewhere else, but that never happened.
I no judgment here. I only speak one language and I struggle with that. So.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually starting to forget the English language as well. I mean, like, and soon, I'm pretty sure when I get older, I'll forget both languages and just make noises.
Oh no. So BK Dan wants to know: do you play non-fantasy RPGs like sci-fi? You mentioned Call of Cthulhu, so that would be horror.
Yeah, and I would say that actually goes into kind of sci-fi as well. I, I feel like that goes under a lot of categories, but uh, not anymore. Now it's just D&D.
Yeah.
I'm burnt out of Call of Cthulhu, although I played it for 2 years.
Okay. I have yet to play a game of Call of Cthulhu. It's on the list. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
It's very fun, but it's not a very friendly system for the player. Like imagine playing a level 1 character, right? And you're running around as level 1 with no features or anything. I mean, you have guns and stuff like that, but guns are super deadly, and like what a shotgun blast is 40, 48, 46, right? So basically one shot of that, you're dead.
Yeah. So, um, Daraxis wants to know what's coming up in the future for your channel. What are you working on nowadays?
Right now, I'm soon finished with first level spells, what I wanted to talk about. Um, although it's not really first level spells, it's more like I'm talking about a bunch of feats and then ending it with Warcaster. Then after that, I want to go back and do sleep again. The reason why is because I want a more like statistically concrete information about like how many on average sleep knocks out
Uh-huh.
this group, that group, this group, that group. So that might be a big video, but I don't know. I don't know.
You like stats?
I'm not really a stat guy, but I do crunch numbers.
Yeah.
And when I look at sometimes I look at stats, right? just to make sure if things are balanced out and what have you. So I don't need to brew a lot, and I don't enjoy brewing very much, but I do have to like look into things, like look into classes, like I don't know, for example, a monk, and find out, okay, at average at these levels, he's underperforming. So how do I boost that so the player has fun and yada yada yada. That's just an example.
Have Have you had much problem with monk satisfaction in your games?
Um, well, I mean, I have a monk player, right? And well, I boosted him. He's always had fun with monks,
Yeah.
but I I didn't give him the original monk. I gave him actually the Trent monk version of monk, which is a lot more boosted, and he's having fun with that. So that's all that I care about. But when it comes to vanilla monk, I mean the numbers aren't really satisfying me because they're doing close to cantrip damage,
Yeah.
even when they're spending resources, and I don't like that. So
You're a Trent Monk disciple.
I mean, he presented the numbers, and then I was convinced, like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a problem,
I don't know. I just
But
never found players really complaining about it at the table. I
no,
do. I do agree though. Like the resources are tough. I just so I like in the game I got going on right now. We have a Way of the Four Elements monk,
yeah. I
and
mean, people aren't really out there for, I don't know. I don't know, man. But like the lower level monks, they're not complaining. It's really the higher levels,
yeah.
which is like 11. 11 is when you notice that there's a little bit of a,
Uh,
and
who plays at 11th level though? So,
I do.
what? Unheard of.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
do. There was one time we went from level 1 to 18.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was several years ago.
yeah. In 5e, we've had a couple games where we've gone to 20th level, and the game that we're running now, that Ted's running now, I think we just hit 13th level. So
Hmm.
it does happen occasionally. Although those characters started at like 10th level, so
Yeah,
that helped.
I play with Trent Monk as a fellow player, right?
Uh
And
huh.
in that game, we've been pretty much playing a year, and we're at level 12 now, I believe. I forget, 11 or 12, somewhere around there. And well, I mean, sometimes you get there, sometimes you don't. But I've noticed like a lot of the games that because I play in a lot of games, especially in the
Mm.
past. There was a point where I played D&D every day as a player, right? And I noticed that all the tables were dying as soon as I hit level 10 or 9. And I don't know why.
Oh,
Real life
the games
problems.
would just end at around that time.
Yeah, it would be real life problems or balance issue, or who knows, right? Or just, I don't know.
That's when it gets harder as the GM. I want to say like right around 11th level is like managing the players and resources, and challenging players starts getting a lot more difficult because what is that? Is that 6th level spells right around there?
Yeah, it gets very difficult. And especially if you have like a wizard and a
Yeah.
wizard player, because then he's gonna grab magic jar and he's gonna be magic jarring people. He's gonna be magic jarring the king, and he's the king and he's walking around like he's the boss,
Mhm.
while everybody else is like scratching their heads like, what's wrong with our king? you
That sounds like
know
a very specific instance of magic jar.
I mean, it happens. It does happen, you know.
We had one
Uh,
player as soon as he got magic jar, he like casted it on like the first NPC he found, and the rest of the players are like, rest of the players and their, well, I should say their characters were like horrified. It's like you just magic jarred that guy and possessed him for no reason.
Yeah, I can relate because I play with this heavy role play group, and of course I'm playing Cobalt. I'm actually playing that. I was playing that blue Cobalt. You know, my
Uh-huh.
Quintus. That's his name. And well, I got Magic Jar through a scroll, and I decided to go. Apparently, I found out later that I actually cheated. I didn't know at the time.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. But anyways, I used Magic Jar, and I almost possessed a prince. But I decided to go against it because I knew my party would be pissed. Because you know they're more of the lawful and good aligned, and they didn't like the idea that, well, I'd be dead on the floor, but suddenly this prince wants to tag along. But they'll put things together and notice something's off.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just laughing at the chat a little bit.
Are they making fun of me?
No, not now. Now just when the chat descends into dunking on the monks, you can tell the crowd.
I promised myself not to dunk on monks.
Well, whenever we do a video and we do any kind of build, if we include the monk, we will definitely, that will summon Trip-Monk followers to us to tell us to look at Trip-Monk's monk video.
Yeah, sorry about that. Although
It's fine.
I'll give credit because I think Tasha's actually did some good. Like
It
Mercy.
helps, but it's still like it's a super resource intense class, right? So, like I said, I've got a monk that's playing Away of the Four Elements. So what I did is I gave them a magic item that doubles their key points.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So now that now they don't run out. And they can keep doing fun things. So
yeah. That basically solves the problem.
yeah. So how many games are you playing in right now?
Right now, 3. Well, 4 technically. I DM for 1.
Yeah.
And
That's a full card. That's a full dance card.
Yeah. It's on the weekends. On Saturday, I literally play 2 games in a row, which is 8, 9, 10 hours.
That is a lot of gaming. And it's a lot of gaming online.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's fine. It's like when that game is over, I can quickly run to the kitchen, which is right there, and cook up something and jump back here, eat, and play the next game. So it's fine.
I don't have the constitution to sit at the computer for that long playing games anymore.
Oh, well,
don't get old.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you can sit around the table, with your friends and.
Oh yeah. And so like when we were playing in person in the before times, like we would probably get together around 6 and games would go, but somewhere between 10 and midnight. But it's different when you're playing in person at a table because people are getting up, moving around. We'll like all have dinner together, and I feel like when you play online, you're like right here, just like focused in for that whole time.
Yeah. I've only played at tables like a few times, right? And I haven't done that for years actually. So yeah, I remember it was a good time. I mean, it's a different atmosphere, right?
It's like, it's more of a social event, right?
Yeah, you throw some dice and then you take a break and eat some pizza and whatever the hell. Can I swear on this?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Yeah.
I've been known to swear a little myself, so.
Okay.
Yeah. So what characters are you playing in those games?
So one of them I'm playing my blue kobold, right? And at the time, right now, he's a genie warlock.
Hmm.
So, and he's at level 11. And well, it's pretty good. I have
That is a
fun
good
with him.
level. You can do the fun things with the genie warlock at 11 level.
Yeah, something bad happened to him though. We basically killed a god, and then to celebrate, I dipped my toe into some polymorph water, and I permanently turned into a dwarf.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was a little upset about that.
Do you have to rebrand your channel now?
Everybody was making, well, Trent Monk and everybody who knows this story was making fun of me. Like, now you have to have a dwarf, doing the YouTube channel.
I
And I'm
know.
like, no, I don't feel like
Is he at
doing
least
that.
a blue dwarf? Can he be blue?
Um, right. I haven't drawn his token, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like doing that. But I just imagine him a bald dwarf, with no beard or anything. He looks like a gnome, but chunkier.
Chunky gnome.
Yeah, chunky gnome.
Would what,
He probably
why
looks like Eric Cartman.
why did you stick your toe in the polymorph water, man?
Because I was curious what I would turn into. I mean, like, so everybody's fallen into the polymorph water,
Uh
right?
huh.
One guy turned into a camel. Um, Chris Trentmonk, he turned into a water elemental and sprayed water everywhere. Somebody else turned into an elf. I forget what. And I'm like, oh, these polymorphs only last like an hour. So I'm curious, what am I going to turn into? So I dip my toe into it, and it turns out to be permanent.
The luck of the dice, man.
Yeah, and it was right
Or is it
after
your DM just hates your blue kobold?
I was rolling on the random table, right? And I rolled
Yeah.
super low, and suddenly I got the permanent stuff, and I didn't even know the permanent
Oh
stuff was
man.
there. And I mean, it was really funny at the time. We just killed a god of death, basically, right?
Yeah.
And then I decided I'm gonna do
Oh my
this.
god. I just killed a god of death and all I got was a stupid dwarf body.
Yeah, pretty much. I got the
Yeah.
killing blow too. Hmm.
So what else are you playing? We got a genie lock, formerly kobold.
And my mind is a little bit slow because I've been working.
Yeah, I don't recommend that.
Yeah. So I play a genie warlock. I play a force lance. So basically a force lance is a fighter warlock
Okay.
type. And really the idea is like I have this wooden sword. Well, it's a pole arm, right? But I flavored it into a wooden sword. And
Okay.
the idea is like each swing of the sword shoots a beam, forward that pushes people 10 foot,
Oh yeah, I'll just blast,
back.
huh?
And that's the whole idea. That's the whole concept. And the other character, what am I playing on that one again? I need to think here. Oh, yeah, that's right. Bladesinger. No, yeah, Bladesinger. And we are level 6, I believe. 6. No, we're level 4.
So
I'm
two
playing so many.
gishes, huh? You like gishes?
I'm a Gish guy, a
Gish
big
guy.
Gish guy.
I like playing gishes too.
And kobolds, I mean, I don't see this a lot on the internet at all, and it baffles me. I mean, the internet recommends a lot of kobold rogues and stuff
Hmm.
like that. And I say no, that's not the optimal approach. The optimal approach for a kobold is actually Gish, because you have a problem with sunlight sensitivity, right? So if the sun is out, you're not doing attack rolls. You're instead casting spells, that does saving throws.
Okay.
So you can avoid the sun.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and if you really want to do the attack stuff, right? Then it's just to cast fog cloud above you. So then it's like, oh, that solves that problem.
Yeah, for the low cost of one of your spell slots.
Yeah, but you got
It's
to
an
make sure
umbrella.
it's yeah, it's basically an umbrella, but you got to make sure it's up above you and the enemy, so you get that advantage. Hopefully,
Just
yeah,
cast it at like 4 foot.
4 foot.
So you get
Eh,
their heads. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you're a
yeah,
kobold and you can get pack tactics anyway, but you know.
yeah. That is, I made a video about that, like
Yeah.
about fog cloud. Basically, the idea is if you're fighting a giant, and everybody else is medium-sized humans and whatever, right? You can cast fog cloud above you, so
Hmm.
the giant is in the fog cloud, but everybody else is not. So then you're attacking with advantage because he can't see anything. But again, that's DM dependent and there's no rules for it, but it's creative.
I would allow it in my game for sure.
Oh, Chris didn't allow it.
Oh no.
No, he was
Jerk.
like, he would bend over.
I guess, but wouldn't it, like, they could do that, or they could drop to their knees, but then like I feel like you start invoking like the prone rules and the squeezing rules.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
like,
Like imagine fighting like this,
yeah,
It's
like
not
you told me you're an electrician by trade, right? And so have you done a lot of work in like crawl spaces?
yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing freaking good about that. It's everything's harder, it hurts, and it's very uncomfortable. And yeah,
Yeah, and suddenly, a bunch of steel sand and what have you falls on you and gets in your neck and
yeah, it's not
it's
fun.
aw- it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I had a good
so
time.
so that's I feel like so that's why I kind of feel like it would be like being a giant trying to you know crouch down to fight someone on there. They're not Blanca, right, from Street Fighter, where he crouches down and does the claw
Mm,
thing. It would suck. Definitely
yeah.
get a Charlie horse for sure.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I tend to like lean in favor of the players when I play.
Yeah.
So if they do something clever, I like to reward them for it instead of trying to counter it per se, right? I'm like, yeah. So worst case scenario is they have an easy encounter. I'll get them on the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually a question I have for you. Like when you're usually throwing encounters, right?
Uh
How many encounters do you try to aim for in like a session?
like one, like that. Our games, I would say we do like 1 to 3, but a lot of we don't do a lot of combat encounters in our games.
Okay, so it's a lot more like
Role playing,
role playing. Yeah, I get that. That's
exploration.
yeah,
It's like like if we have several encounters in the same day in one of our games, it really messes up our players because which it's good to do every once in a while because they'll use so much of their resources not anticipating more encounters. Uh,
yeah,
how many
yeah.
how many do you usually do in a session?
It depends. Sometimes actually zero. Sometimes 1 to 3 to 4. One time we've had 6. I think one time we've had 8. But like really depends on what's going on there. And then my group likes to role play a lot, so we have a lot of not really downtime, but a lot of more like thinking like how are we gonna approach this situation? How are we gonna solve this quest with less casualties and what have you?
Yeah,
So I think my players are very clever in avoiding encounters. But when shit hits the fan, shit hits the fan,
I guess
But
also like as a GM when you do that, it leaves more wiggle room for doing more difficult encounters. right? Like you're not like you can just make a deadly or an overly deadly encounter and throw it in there, and if they can Nova on it, it's usually not a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I usually throw like hard encounters and then sometimes deadly, sometimes medium. It really
Yeah,
depends on how many encounters I plan on throwing, but you know, I feel like my players can do anything.
yeah, they also they never fail to surprise me in either direction, right? I'll throw in an encounter and be like, oh, this will be easy. This character can just do this, or that character can do this, and they never fail to not do the thing that it seems obvious to me, or they do something I would have never thought of.
Hmm.
Uh, at least that's been my experience over the years. Players are unpredictable and wily.
Hmm.
What kind of adventures do you like to run? Do you like homebrew stuff or pre-written stuff?
I I like homebrew. I don't like to brew
Uh,
like mechanics, but I do like to brew universe. But right now I'm running Curse of Strahd, but I've brewed it to oblivion. So it's basically my own spin of Ravenloft and what have you.
I'm running through that adventure now with someone playing. It's actually my first official campaign setting that I've played in. Everything
Okay.
we do is generally homebrew.
Yeah, yeah. In general, I like the homebrew worlds a lot more than modules because
Yeah.
because I found out in Curse of Strahd, like I don't, I mean, it's a good module. It's a very good module, but I don't really want to follow the book too much. I want to do my own thing. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's like the reason why I don't run modules because I would want to do my own thing. Then it seems like I did a bunch of extra. It seems like a lot more work, right, for me
Mm.
to like learn the adventure so that I could run it. But then like all the stuff I would want to add or change according to what the players do or based on the players. Now I will say, Crest of Strahd of all the adventures is the easiest as far as not incorporating player backgrounds and backstories into your venture, only because the nature of Ravenloft is you get swept there from someplace else, so it cuts kind of like all of that out. But like if you're playing Storm King's Thunder, or maybe Tomb of Annihilation, or one of the other adventures, I feel like I would want to use more stuff from my players' backgrounds and backstories.
I really enjoy backstories and stuff. My players write like 2-3 pages of backstory, and
Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like for that, dedication, I have to reward them. So I like to make things very personal, and yeah, I see a lot of people mentioning 3D6 wolves.
And Force Lance.
Oh, Force Lance.
I assumed it's something from one of your games or something you've talked about.
No, I've talked a lot about wolves, and
Mm.
that's one of the things I see a lot in D&D. Wolves. I see a lot of wolves.
Yeah, wolves, dire wolves, winter wolves, death dogs.
Oh, yes. I've seen TPKs with wolves. I've seen people ripped to shreds with wolves in one turn.
Druids using wolves. I mean, like when you summon 8 wolves and you're rolling 16 dice, they tend to mow through things.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember one of my friends was playing, she was playing a dream druid or whatever it's called, right? And she liked to cast conjure animals a lot.
Yeah.
And the DM was fine with her picking the monster. And she always picked the wolves, and the wolves just wrecked everything.
Yeah. It's like a chainsaw of teeth, right?
Yeah.
So, Tristan wants to know favorite official setting.
Official setting. Well,
You can also not have a favorite too.
um,
Maybe you hate official settings. I don't know.
I well, I mean, like, I would say right now it's really Ravenloft, you know.
Are you excited for the new book?
Yeah, I am very excited for it because I heard there's one dark plane that's inspired by Lovecraft stuff, and I'm a
Yeah.
sucker for Lovecraft stuff. So
Yeah.
obviously, I want to read that, although I'm not expecting much out of it. But you
You can
know,
get your hands on the old domains of Dread. That was a great supplement to
yeah,
Ravenloft.
I can do that, but
Oh,
I I want to wait and grab the book. You know.
why not both? For me, I like Eberron. Like, I think Eberron is the only campaign setting that I've actually ran.
Hmm.
I mean, it's been a while. I did some like one shots in Eberron when 5e first came out, but in third edition, when Eberron came out, I had actually ran in that setting for a while, which isn't something I normally do. But I just enjoy what Keith Baker came up with that. It's
Hmm.
different, you know. It was different than everything else. I don't like I don't like Greyhawk and Forgotten Realms as campaign settings.
The thing is, I've been I've been playing D&D for 3 years, really, 4, and I mean, I know Faerun a little bit, I know Ravenloft a little bit, right? But I feel like besides those two, I don't know the settings at all. I don't know the lore. I play in so much homebrew worlds that
Yeah,
it's all foreign to me, you know?
there's nothing wrong with that, man. It's all optional.
It's all optional.
Yeah,
But I find it really cool in D&D. You have all these settings, you know, like all these universes to pick from, you know. Uh, That's actually pretty damn cool.
what when you run your own adventures, is it always the same homebrew world? Do you change it depending on the campaign you're running?
I've only run one game and we're still playing that one game. And it's in Ravenloft. But again, it's brewed to oblivion. So I threw a bunch of dragons in there
Okay.
too. And yeah, right now we're just doing that. But in the future, if I'm gonna run the next game, I'm either gonna use the new book, you know, the new, I forget the name of that book that's coming out.
Is it Van Richten's Guide to?
Yeah, Richten's Guide. You know,
Yeah.
I might use Richten's Guide or I might come up with my own stuff. But I don't know. I haven't planned that far ahead.
Also, too, like the Van Richten's Guide, like they're going to give us some of the domains, but then also like how to create your own. So you could actually do somewhere in between. You could use the book and create your own if you want it. You know, using that as a guide. I know one of the things they're doing and they're changing is like all the domains are going to be islands now, and before it was just like they were just bordered by the mist, and you could like go through the mist, and then you end up in a different one.
I actually didn't know that. It's
Oh
kind of
yeah,
cool.
you know, it was there's actually some really good novelizations for Ravenloft
Hmm.
that are worth checking out if you wanted further inspiration. Um, they were some of the better ones. I felt some chatter about Forgotten Realms or about the realms in there. For me, like Forgotten Realms is fun. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I like the Forgotten Realms novels that I would read. But like Forgotten Realms and Greyhawk, it just feels like playing someone else's homebrew, like someone else's version of Tolkien. And if I'm gonna do that, I would just rather make up my own.
Yeah, yeah, I see that. I did play a little bit in Faerun, and I had a blast at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's no you. I'm. I would definitely have fun playing as a player. Just as a GM, my preference is probably just to homebrew my own stuff.
Hmm.
The Raxus has a very important question. Have you ever
Oh,
forgiven Garl Glittergold for what he did to your god?
No, no.
And also, so that made me wonder. I was like, you also said you're not like really into the lore. Do you even know the lore there?
Well, I know the kobold lore
Oh,
because
okay. You're a
I mean,
specialist. You're a sage
uh,
with a very specific specialization.
I wouldn't say I'm a specialist, but I
Well,
know
you got
it.
a YouTube channel and everything. Expert.
Yeah,
So, do you play bards at all?
I play bards. Yes,
Do you show up with the bagpipes?
my blue kobold, um, originally in the first game he played in
Uh,
was a bagpiper, and he was a mix. He was a hexblade bard, lore bard,
yeah.
and I did play the bagpipes a few times,
Um,
and
who
I
did that
rem
bother more, the other players or the GM?
um I would only play it like once at the beginning and then once at the very end of the campaign,
Uh,
like I think amazing. Like I remember there was a big plot point, right? We basically killed the last boss who was basically this corrupt king, and everybody knew that the campaign is pretty much over, which is really sad because we had been playing that game for 2 years. So there was a scene where we're standing around this, burial of the king himself, right?
yeah.
Even though he's a corrupt king, we decided, you know what, we're gonna give him a proper burial anyways. So I pulled out the bagpipes and I played Amazing Grace like it was a funeral or something,
Yeah,
and it was magic. Players cried and yeah, players cried,
yeah.
but
Did you at least get inspiration?
uh I don't think I did. It was
Son
pretty
of
much
a.
the end of the camp. It was pretty much the end of the campaign.
Yeah,
So
but you could have went out with inspiration at least. Come on. The man pulled out the bagpipes and played Amazing Grace at a make believe funeral. Can you put that on a resume now? I played the bagpipes at a king's funeral.
yeah.
I mean, it was in a D&D game, but still, it's got to count, right?
I actually put D&D in my CV and stuff like that I've done, you know, to get, you know.
Zerk Daniels want to know: do you put your ability score modifiers in the big circle or the smaller circle on your character sheet?
I don't know what he's talking about. I'm just doing whatever Roll20 tells me to do.
I don't know if Roll20. I don't know the interface that well, um, but the and like on D&D Beyond, you can switch it out, and on the printed character sheets, you have like two circles, right? One inside of another, or a box inside of another. One is for the modifier, and one is for the actual number
Mhm.
itself. So I guess if it's on 22 on Roll20, I don't know what the default is, and if you can change it or not.
I think if I remember right, it's so automatic to me. Like I can
Yeah,
just like when it comes to characters, right?
yeah,
Um, I did the big boxes, and you just write 14 and then it's +2,
yeah, yeah.
and be done with it.
I always do modifier big number, score
Mm,
little number, just because I don't even know why we have this score anymore.
I
There's
don't,
like these few niche things we use it for that I feel like they made up just so they could say that it gets used, but it's only like very rare instances, very specific things it gets used for.
yeah, yeah. I'll probably shave off in 6th edition. I have no idea.
Maybe they seem to really struggle. Like they, you've only been playing 3 years, so I imagine. Well, you started with Pathfinder, which is a little bit more like third edition. So you've only played fifth
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember how long I played Pathfinder. I think a year.
then. Yeah,
And then I concluded that this was a little bit too complicated for me at the time. So then I jumped into Call of Cthulhu, and that was a lot more bearable.
yeah.
And 5th edition, I pretty much dived in the deep end and looked into a million builds and got burnt out of that. And Now I make YouTube content about spells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And feats soon.
Yeah, feats soon.
After feats, do you know where you're gonna go that next?
Builds.
Builds.
Well, I mean, I won't go into builds. I'll touch on some builds because I feel like it's very important. Like I want to kill a myth, like the biggest myth the D&D community has, and that is Rangers are bad. Rangers are not bad. And I feel like I can kill that with like 2 videos. So
What does Trent Monk say about this?
Trent Monk, he's okay with Rangers, but
I like Rangers. I've played a few of them, and I'm notorious for playing the worst type of Ranger.
Oh yeah, I mean, Ranger's very hard. It is hard, but the secret that people are missing is it's in the spells. It's always in the spells.
In the spells, huh?
Like I'll give you an example, like Goodberry. Nobody thinks about this for some odd reason. Goodberry lasts 24 hours, right? Long rest lasts, takes 8 hours, So what you can do is you can juggle good berries. So before you go to bed.
I mean, if you have a high dexterity and maybe the performance skill, yeah, probably.
No, these are spells. Like you can make good
That
berries.
is a bad joke. Sorry.
Oh,
you said juggle.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Anyways, it's like making sandwiches and going to work, the next day. It's the same thing with these good berries. And if you're high level, like let's say a 9th level ranger, then you're juggling around like what? Like 90 good berries. And that's a lot of healing. And on top of that, after that long rest, you have all your slots back. So that's a fresh start. And from there,
but think about how bloated the other players are going to feel all day long.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
hit points are hit points.
good for them, They're well fed and
yeah, they just ate 90 days worth of rations.
Oh, I mean, like if they're like halflings, they'll be fine.
Yeah. That's true.
They'll be fine with 10th breakfast.
Yeah, you can never have too many breakfasts.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Tasha's really up the Ranger anyway.
Absolutely. And that makes my job so much easier. But I kind of want to kill it with I want to kill the myth with just using the player handbook. I want to do. Not so much Beastmaster. Beastmaster, have at it, like you can argue all you want. But Hunter's is a very good subclass, and on top of that, spells. So I think it's really, really good.
Yeah.
One of the best marshals out there.
My biggest issue with the Beastmaster is the companion never has enough hit points. Like pre-Tasha's, it didn't have enough hit points. So it's like, especially like, and it only got worse with levels, right? Once you hit 20th level and it's got 80 hit points, well, that thing can get one-shotted, two-shotted tops, right? And a huge part of the Ranger kit is Hunter's Mark. And the Beast is your weapon. And you can't apply Hunter's Mark to your weapon, with the Beast Companion Ranger. So that's kind of problematic.
Yeah. I mean, I do see it. Although there's more to the Hunter, there's more to the first level spells for Ranger than just Hunter's Mark, like Fog Cloud. And now they have Entangle, and that's actually makes a little bit of a difference. And yeah, Goodberry. I mentioned good berries a lot. I even made a video about Goodberry. I'm like crazy for good berries. It's the best healing spell in the game.
Yeah, I don't know, but Hunter's Mark and Hex are like two of the best spells in the game as far as like the more attacks you get, the better it gets.
Absolutely, absolutely. That it is. If you, damage solves, So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm looking forward to see your forays into the Ranger. Like I said, I think the Ranger has played fine at my tables. I don't think it's been bad. We've also had a lot of like Beast Companion Rangers. Even though maybe it's not the most optimal thing, it's optimal and fun aren't always the same thing.
Mm.
So, I mean, at least at our tables anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's just my opinion. So we are up on the hour mark. Final thoughts before we head on out?
Final thoughts. Shout outs to the Tremont community for showing up. Everybody who showed up today. Thank you very much. I'm surprised it was 27 people. There was 1.30 people.
Yeah, it was like 30 some at one point for sure.
I thought I would attract no one, but
you were wrong. Everyone loves kobolds, man. And then obnoxious instruments like bagpipes, that's like a winning combination right there.
yeah. Let's see what the people say. Do they want me to play a song?
Oh. I don't care what they want. It's my channel. Get play a song if you want on the way out. Also, links are in the description. So go check out Pack Tactics. I think we're going to get a little more bagpiping here. Do it. Which is super cool because I've never had anyone come on here and play instruments live. I'm going to crank down the volume a little bit for you folks so that you don't get your ears blasted out because everyone loves bagpipes anyway. With that, everyone, until next time, stay nerdy.